Hello, everybody. I, it's been a while since I made a video to share with everybody. I felt like I really wanted to share one where I share some of the chants that we know. I didn't bring a drink, so that might not be I might not have been my video might be shorter than I planned. But at least get it started. But I was inspired by this because I went to a festival, Earth House Midsummer Gather, last week/weekend, and there was the opportunity, several nights, but Saturday night I participated in we were like under a canopy. It's pouring rain, but there was still a handful of us who were resolute, and we stayed. And some people had drums out. We were sharing different chants, and one of the things I was reminded of, one is how much I love, sharing music with other people, and musical instruments and voices together. And it's actually something that, in our tradition of living tapestry tradition, music has always been a really big deal, whether it was just instruments or voices or both combined. And just how much I miss sort of singing in larger groups. Like, our coven is kind of small, so we do get to sing, with each other, but there's something about having a sort of a larger group and having more instruments that are sort of key to that. And so it's really interesting to me. So and so for me that was so inspiring, and I wanted to like get back to that. But it was kind of interesting because we're sitting there and I'm trying to think like what chants I know, and suddenly my brain went like blank. Like suddenly I can't remember any chants ever. Words, I don't even know words, much less chants, right? Like I was like, I know so many chants, why can't I remember? But the thing is, part of the reason why, if you're not using them like all the time on a regular basis, sometimes you just lose that. But and also, like for me, I found Wicca and paganism in 1988, I want to say, and then I joined my first coven in 89, and then in 1990 my spouse and I at the time hived off from that coven, formed our own coven. And then a friend of ours hived off soon after us and joined us in that coven. And that coven in 1990 is kind of what, over time evolved and grew and became what would eventually become Living Tapestry Circle, which was the coven that we built our tradition off of, the Living Tapestry tradition. And that, that sort of evolved eventually, and sort of my coven today is a part of that tradition, and is a part of that, and there's sort of the lineage all the way back to 1990, right? At least for me. But what that means is that when I'm talking about different chants and songs, some of them I learned back in the 80s and early 90s. And if I haven't been singing them a whole lot, between, I might forget the tune or the words, right? Also, many people in our tradition were quite talented and wrote their own chants and came up with their own tunes or borrowed tunes. It's a very, very common, historically, as well as in the pagan community, to borrow tunes that are already in use and just put different words to them. So the problem is, though, if you didn't get a recording, I tried to record stuff, but I don't have all the tapes that I recorded things on. I think that some of them got lost over time. And if you don't have other people don't know those chants, and so there's not another kind of recording out there. And so there's actually quite a few out there in terms of like on YouTube and other stuff. But sometimes things get lost. But that's the thing about oral traditions anyway. You learn a chant this way because you learned it from this group of people, and this is how they do it. And then you hear it again and the tune has changed, or the tune is the same, but the lyrics have changed, or both are different. People will make small changes to the tune because maybe they forgot parts of the original tune, or they purposefully changed it because they didn't really like exactly how it went. Lyrics can change because, again, people might have forgotten part of the lyrics, or sometimes people really deliberately change a couple of words here, or they change the lyrics entirely. So you'll know, you can like certain regions, like that's how the tune, maybe it's slower or faster. Maybe the tune is like no longer quite the same beat as it was before. But you'll notice that a lot of people who are in a similar area are most likely to actually share that similar tune or know those same lyrics. We've seen that even in our own tradition where we haven't sung together with, like, there's another coven in the tradition that's still around. There's actually, I think there's 3 right now. But they moved to New York. They're around different, and our coven was started in Indiana, by the way. Now, and then we moved all over. But anyway, so this group, the high priestess hived off, and she went to New York, and she had in Ithaca and Rochester up there, and so around those communities. And so it was really interesting when we came back together, and we're ritualing again during quarantine, where we were ritualing over Zoom, which was something none of us would have really thought about doing before, but necessity dictated, and suddenly we could ritual with people all across the country, who are in our tradition, or LTT adjacent, as we call them. And it was interesting because then we were able to discover that some of the chants, we didn't do the same tune anymore. Some of the chants, she had changed some of the words, or I had changed some of the words over time. And so even though we had this shared history of where we had learned them, it had changed. So I think this is beautiful. It does make it a little bit of a challenge when you're first trying to chant together with someone, because one or the other of you has to compromise. And like, okay, I'm going to jump in and do your style, or okay, I'm going to jump in and do it their way. So you kind of have to, kind of be flexible in that. I love the opportunity to be like, oh, here's the version I know. Oh, here's the version I know. If you have the opportunity, that kind of sharing, I think, is really good. But sometimes you just have to do the compromise. Oh, that's how they do it here, or we're just going to do that one. So that was a fun experience. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a drink, but I won't be gone but a second for you, because I'm going to pause the recording. Almost forgot to put these back in. So I'm not necessarily going to do tons of chants. I'm not going to do all of them. But I do want to try to do, some of them. I want to try to share some of the different chants that we know. Some of them we learned from other groups. Don't know if those groups created them or they just were sharing them themselves. Some of them we actually learned from different CDs or cassettes that we had. And some of them, like I said, we wrote ourselves. And so I'm going to share some of them. This is not going to be a really long video where I'm talking about necessarily all of them, but I do want to share some of them. So I'll probably bounce around a little bit and share some of them. There are some that some of these we wrote, or coven members or tradition members wrote. Some of them are ones that are sort of loved, beloved, ones. So there's where am I going to go here? So one of the ones I think that is probably the most common, that people know, sort of often get paired together, are like, we all come from the goddess, and we all come from the goddess, and then hoof and horn. But it was interesting because, on Saturday when we were at this chanting drumming circle thing that happened spontaneously, I heard a different version of hoof and horn, and I don't know that I remember all the lyrics specifically. So hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that falls shall rise again, is the version that I learned. Now I've heard a version of vine and grain instead of corn and grain, but this one was hoof and horn, all that dies shall be reborn. Sun and rain, snow on something, snow on, and it rhymes with rain, obviously. All that falls shall rise again. So it was really a shift in that one. There's another one where I've heard it as, mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I can see you when the eagles fly. Mother, won't you take me higher? And that one was changed to like, mother, I feel you. And then, Father, I see you when the eagles fly. Spirit, won't you take me higher? So it's really interesting to see how lyrics change. Now, sometimes, like I said, sometimes people change those lyrics purposefully. Sometimes they might change it purposely for a specific ritual that they're doing. Sometimes they just don't, the original lyrics just don't quite resonate with them, so they shift it. So here, let's see if I can actually do this one. And I'm going to sing it the way I know it, but I'll tell you how I tend to sing it. But this kind of changed over time, and so that some of the lyrics are a little bit different, and the rhythm is slightly different. But let's see. Hail to east, to hail to south, to hail to west, to hail to north. The wind of my breath, the fire of my mind, the water of my blood, earth of my flesh. The wind of my breath, the fire of my mind, the water of my blood, earth of my flesh. Now the lyrics got changed over time by our sister coven in New York, and it was wind of my breath. Let's see if I wind of my breath, the flame of my soul, the water of my blood, earth of my flesh. But I think, you know, and the tune was just a little bit different. She does sing a little bit lower than me, and it's just got a slightly different tune. But this is one that was written specifically by one of our tradition members, right? And so that's one that luckily we both kind of remembered because we often used it in ritual. It's really nice to use when you're doing quarter calls. To have people chanting in the background with that while the person who's doing the quarter call steps up and says their quarter call. One of the things that we like to do is have everybody else gets to be chanting while the one person is doing the call. That helps shyer people if they're doing a quarter call, but it also helps everybody feel like they're involved in the process, right? So there was another one that originally the order was fire to water to earth and to wind, but we decided we liked it for circle closing, so we kind of changed it. So this is what we changed it to. Earth to water to fire and to wind, it's a circle of life, a dance without end. So merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. So instead of the fire to water to earth to wind that we had originally learned, we shifted it in order to be to reflect the way that we take down circle, which is in sort of a Widdershins fashion. So when we put the circle up, we put it up in the east and go around to the north. And we take it down, we start in the north and go back around to the east. So then this is another one that was written by a member of our tradition. I walk in beauty as a goddess eminent. I walk in beauty as a goddess eminent. Oh, how I love her, we shall never be apart. I am her body, she is beating in my heart. Perfect love and perfect trust, all my gifts to share. When I give them to myself, I bring them everywhere. Perfect love and perfect trust are my gifts to share. When I give them to myself, I bring them everywhere. I walk in beauty as a god eminent. I walk in beauty as a god eminent. Oh, how I love him, we shall never be apart. I am his body, he is beating in my heart. Perfect love and perfect trust, all my gifts to share. When I give them to myself, I bring them everywhere. Sorry, I ran out of steam there. And this one could be changed. So in our tradition, we actually recognize the great androgyny or the god X, sort of recognizing multi-gendered or non-gendered, forms of deity. So this could be, the language could be changed to be inclusive in that way. So I walk, oh, how I love them, kind of, so you could use, they, them pronouns for deity that was non-gendered or multi-gender. So that was one that was another one that was like sort of created and by a member of our group. And let's see. This one was actually one that we I think learned. It was on a, somebody gave it to me, so I have no idea who actually was singing these chants. There's a bunch of different sort of affirmations. And this one was, let's see if I can remember it. Hopefully I can. Let's see. I am a tower of strength within and without. I am a tower of strength within. I am a tower of strength within and without. I am a tower of strength within. I let all burdens fall from my shoulders, all anxieties drop from my mind. I let all burdens fall from my shoulders, all anxieties drop from my mind. I let all fears slip away, all fears slip from my heart. I let all fears slip away, all fears slip from my heart. I let every shackle be loose, and I let every shackle be loose. I let every shackle be loose, and every shackle be loose. I am a tower of strength within and without. I am a tower of strength within. I am a tower of strength within and without. I am a tower of strength within. So you kind of get the idea. That one kind of keeps repeating. A lot of chants have this sort of repetitive nature. Some even have call and response. Some even have sort of different parts that people might do that go literally in rounds. And some are songs. Now, song is different than a chant. Songs typically have a beginning, middle, and end, and they might have a chorus in them that repeats, but they don't necessarily go in rounds like that. And some chants are designed to be call and response. So one person sings that part, and then people respond with that part, so that they don't even have to, like just have to repeat the what was sung to them. Oh, I can't remember the tune for that one, unfortunately. There's a couple that I was very, very sad because the lyrics are so beautiful, and I remember loving the chant. And I literally could not remember. I cannot remember. This is one that we actually sang on Saturday. And part of it was because I was listening to the beat that the drummer was doing, and it kind of hopped in because this is the one that came to me, right? Wearing my long tail feathers as I fly, wearing my long tail feathers as I fly, I circle around the boundaries of the earth. Wearing my long tail feathers as I fly, wearing my long tail feathers as I fly, I circle around the boundaries of the earth. There's actually lots of different ways things that people can do with that one. I think I heard a version of that one that had the kind of hey ho between with that particular one as well. You could add verses in there. This is one I have no idea where it came from. Apparently, first verse came from Starmony. Second verse came from the first coven that I was a part of. Whitewater Valley Grove Spiritual Alliance. That's the name of the coven. And then the last three I wrote. Let's see. When to still the time for sowing, secrecies for future growing, life within your dreams of what will be. Come, may you inspire life, love, sweet desire, life within your dreams of what will be. Come June with desire, see the full moon, jump the fire, life within your dreams of what will be. Hot, bright July sun burning, feel the earth forever turning, life within your dreams of what will be. August long is fires bright burning, making love, fertile yearning, life within your dreams of what will be. Now, obviously, I had the intention, as you can guess, right, of, because I wrote June, July, and August. And I had the intention, obviously, of getting to September, October, November, December, etc. And I just sort of ran out of steam. And sometimes it gets a little bit harder to do the rhyming as you're going along. And this is one that I've heard the tune change over time. And sometimes you just sing the first part of it, and then other times there are parts added. So we are a circle within a circle with no beginning and never ending. And often that's the one that's sung, or a slight variation on that tune. And that may be the only thing you sing. This one also has, verses added to it. Sometimes, well, a lot of times when it's like that, you have everyone, the largest percentage of the group continues to sing that first part. And then there are other parts that maybe a person or a pair of people will sing while the other people are continuing that. So some of the chants are designed like that. Like the majority of people are expected to kind of carry that basic tune, and then the other added pieces are done by just one or two individuals. And you kind of like, there was one that we used to do, and like there was myself and another guy, another covener, and he and I would switch off doing the extra piece, if you will. And sometimes we would do it together, but usually we would just sort of switch off, and then we point at each other. Okay, no, you, now you. Some of these might be like songs that we learned, from other pagan artists, as opposed to chants. Let's see. Like this one is a song, and I do it a cappella, and it's a little bit different when there's music with it, but this is one that I learned. I am a bold and a pagan soul, rattling through this land. I judge the world by my own life, and I live by my own hand. And if you ask me where I learned to live so recklessly, my skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. My mother was a spinner of tales, my father a dreaming man, and I have swung on the dragon's tongue and danced on holy land. I have sung the seed up out of the ground, and birds down from the tree. My skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. Once I was found, but now I'm gone, away from the faithful fold. The ones that preach that holiness is to do what you are told. The law and scripture, priest and prayer have all instructed me. My skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. Now they tell me Jesus loves me, but I think he loves in vain. He must go unrequited, on me he has no claim. For the man who would command me, you must wear the horn and let me be. My skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. Then while I breathe its glorious air, an outlaw I'll remain. My body will not be subdued, and I will not be claimed. And if I cannot shout aloud, I'll sing it secretly. My skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. My skin, my bones, my heretic heart are my authority. So that is a song versus a chant. Although if you notice, even in the song, there are places that people could join in, and basically choruses that people could join in on. Some of these, when I've heard them as just that chant over and over. Sometimes I've heard it as sort of part of a longer chant, and it acts almost as a chorus kind of thing. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do all of them, but you know, it's always nice to be able to listen to and revisit some of these. This is one that we also sang on Saturday night. This is actually by a group called Emerald Rose, and so you can probably find this on YouTube. If you look for chants by Starhawk or Reclaiming, you'll find lots of stuff. Emerald Rose, Gaia Consort. There's a number of pagan groups out there too. We talk about Sharon Knight. This one is called Freya Shakti. Freya Shakti Hathoriana Raya Madhamorikan. Freya Shakti Hathoriana Raya Madhamorikan. Ah, raising up the goddess, oh, to fill my soul. Ah, raising up the spirit, oh, to make me whole. Freya Shakti Hathoriana Raya Madhamorikan. Freya Shakti Hathoriana Raya Madhamorikan. Ah, raising up the goddess, oh, to fill my soul. Ah, raising up the spirit, oh, to make me whole. That one is really nice. That's definitely one of the faster ones. That was the other piece that I was, running into as I was trying to like come up with chants. Is that there seemed to be a drive for faster chants, or to speed up slower chants, because of the way the drummers were drumming. So that was a little bit of a challenge, because some of the, like I was thinking, like, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. But it's a little bit slower, and I've heard it a lot slower than that. So even doing that chant, you had to speed it up a little bit, right? And hoof and horn, all that die shall be reborn. Corn and grain, all that fall shall rise again. Again, those actually share similar bass notes, so you can actually sing "We All Come from the Goddess" and "Hoof and Horn" at the same time. And as I said, we were sharing across, comparing, right? And and I heard like different lyrics for Hoof and Horn, in that. So that's always fun. Another one we sang that night was this one. It's called Fur and Feather. Fur and feather and scale and skin, different without but the same within. Fur and feather and scale and skin, different without but the same within. And then there's an extra part. This is the song I was talking about, where the other governor and I would point back and forth at each other, because this is the secondary piece. While most people are doing that chant, this is the other piece. Fur and feather and scale and skin, different without but the same within. Now this is going, wow. Fur and feather and scale and skin, different without but the same within. Fur and feather and scale and skin, different without but the same within. That's supposed to be going sort of underneath while that other piece is happening. There's another, and so sometimes what you can do, if the group is small enough, you might just kind of trade off and do it that way. That's what happens sometimes with the next chant I'm going to do, but the next chant is a similar kind of chant. So this is kind of what you're supposed to start with, and the other piece can be done like over top of it or following it, like I'm going to do. Remember the God, remember the well, if I can remember the lyrics correctly. Remember the God, remember yourself, remember the goddess, remember the God, remember yourself, remember the goddess, remember. Gaia, carry us home. Mother, we are one. Gaia, carry us home. Mother, we are one. Remember the God, remember yourself, remember the goddess, remember the God, remember yourself, remember the goddess, remember. Gaia, carry us home. Mother, we are one. Gaia, carry us home. Mother, we are one. So there are numerous others that, you know, and I didn't like, what I need to do is kind of like sit down and decide to make multiples of these videos and kind of choose like a handful, like make a set, right, of songs or chants that I want to do. What I did today was kind of just grab some of the books that we have that we collected over the years, that we, you know, created over the years, from all the different songs and chants that we know. And just sort of, I'm just flipping through and grabbing stuff. So I think next time I'll want to probably be a little bit more, you know, purposeful in choosing of songs. But I thought this would just be a nice thing to do. I'm sorry, I'm looking to see if there's anything that in this one that I want to do really quick. So you know how I talked about how hoof and horn can sometimes have different lyrics because somebody writes different lyrics. So here's another version of that. I think this is to the hoof and horn. Sage and crone, wisdom's gift shall be our own. Crone and sage, wisdom is the gift of age. And then there was a humorous version of this that I heard at closing ritual, after closing ritual. It wasn't in ritual. And I can't remember the whole thing, but it started out bitch and moan, we don't want to go back home. And there's some other piece to that, but I was like, oh, go back home, where I want to bitch and moan or something. I don't know. It was hilarious. But obviously, you know, sometimes, you know, people are like, we take ourselves too seriously. Let's write a funny chant to that lyric, you know, I mean, to that tune, right? So this is one that someone else was singing in our circle, and this one I believe is from Reclaiming. They have Reclaiming has a couple of CDs of their chants on it, and I think, like as with many of the Reclaiming chants, there's like longer pieces. Like this is like the chorus part. Born of water, cleansing, powerful, healing, changing, we are. Now that could be them, or that could be a group called Labana. I don't remember. Born of water, cleansing, powerful, healing, changing, we are. Or born of water, cleansing, powerful, healing, changing, I am. Let's see. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take, her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. Hey yana ho yana, hey yan yan. And that one, of course, is repeats as those two basic verses, and then the chorus-ish thing that goes over and over. So this is just a start. I'll actually sit down and do this purposefully next time. to actually figure out what chants I want to do, and maybe have a very specific goal in mind when I do them. So I think I'll go ahead and end there, but just know that this was, I made this video really because I was just sort of enjoyed that connection again, and wanted to share. I actually went for a walk earlier today. I mean, when I was at the campground for the event, I was getting 10 to 12 to 14. One day I got almost 15,000 steps in. And so I thought, while I haven't done more than maybe a mile and a half in years, for various reasons. Let me try. And so I actually went out and I did a 3.7 mile walk, and I'm gonna feel it. I'm already starting to feel a little bit in the backs of my thighs, but it was kind of nice. I felt like I got that kind of kick started back into that. And as I was walking, I was actually chanting, at least for part of it, I was chanting some of the chants that I could remember off the top of my head. So but I think I will. I also, have access to some old cassettes and some of my CDs, and might sort of refresh my memory on the tunes and things like that. But it makes it, kind of nice to be able to pass that along. And again, as an oral tradition, if you hear a chant from me that, like, oh, I heard that differently. Yeah, you probably did. There's no wrong way to do it. We're all doing it in our own way. And that's kind of the nature of it. Living traditions, change and grow and evolve. Oral traditions change and grow and evolve. Because unless you only play the one recording ever, it's gonna shift in different ways. So anyway, Spreaker and I say, we hope you have a good night or a good day whenever you're watching this. Blessed be. Bye-bye.